Marc Marquez reflected on his astonishing victory at the San Marino MotoGP, describing it as totally unexpected and attributing it to the unpredictable rain that graced the early part of the race. The Gresini rider's weekend seemed doomed after a Q2 crash left him starting from 9th on the grid. His initial struggles to advance saw him lingering in 5th place as the race heated up. However, the light rain that began to fall early on changed the dynamics dramatically. Marquez capitalized on the shifting conditions, seizing the lead from Francesco Bagnaia on the 8th lap of the 27-lap race. From there he maintained a strong pace, eventually crossing the finish line 3.1 seconds ahead of his closest rival, securing his second win in a remarkable week of racing. Reflecting on the race, Marquez acknowledged that without the rain, competing at the front would have been out of reach. This victory was completely unexpected, especially starting from 9th place. Without those drops of rain, it would have been impossible to challenge the frontrunners, Marquez commented, now sitting 53 points behind the championship leader. Highlighting his strategy, Marquez emphasized the importance of managing the race effectively. We knew our second half of the race pace was strong. Leading was crucial, but equally important was creating a gap to the world champion and Pecco, who were very fast here. Addressing the pivotal moment when rain intensified on lap 7, prompting Jorge Martin to switch to his wet bike, Marquez revealed he considered staying out despite witnessing Franco Morbidelli crash out in the slippery conditions. "I didn't initially plan to pit when Martin did," Marquez explained. "If conditions worsened on the next lap, I might have reconsidered, but seeing others stay out influenced my decision to continue." Reflecting on the race weekend overall, Marquez acknowledged room for improvement, particularly in qualifying. "We had the speed throughout the weekend, but a mistake in qualifying set us back," he admitted. "That's an area we'll focus on improving in 2 weeks." Summing up his daring approach to the race, Marquez concluded, "When I saw raindrops on my visor and the track, I knew it was a moment to take a calculated risk." His victory at Misano stands as a testament to his adaptability and strategic prowess in challenging conditions, securing a memorable triumph against the odds. The 2024 San Marino MotoGP was an event packed with drama, unexpected turns, and strategic miscalculations, culminating in a triumphant victory for Marc Marquez. The Spaniard showcased his enduring prowess by mastering tricky conditions and rising through the field, while Jorge Martin's unfortunate pit stop blunder cost him dearly. This race further intensified the championship battle, adding layers of complexity to the season as it approaches its critical juncture. As the riders lined up at Misano for the 27-lap showdown, there was already a sense of unpredictability in the air. The rain, though light at first, began to make its presence felt just as the race began, introducing an element of uncertainty for the entire grid, setting the stage for a race where tactical decisions would be just as important as outright speed. Francesco Bagnaia, the reigning world champion, had an immediate response to his Saturday sprint loss by taking the whole shot into turn 1. He was closely followed by Franco Morbidelli and Jorge Martin, both of whom were expected to push the Ducati rider hard. As the laps unfolded, Bagnaia quickly opened up a lead of half a second, leaving Martin to fend off Morbidelli. This early battle proved significant as the worsening weather drew the pack closer together, creating an opportunity for the more experienced riders like Marc Marquez to capitalize. By the 7th lap, the rain had become heavy enough to influence decisions across the field. Martin made the bold move to pit for his wet setup, a decision that would later prove to be his undoing. Along with Alex Espargaro, Maverick Vinales, and several others, Martin swapped bikes, anticipating worsening conditions. Unfortunately for him, the rain would stop soon after leaving him stranded on a wet bike, as the rest of the leaders stayed out on slicks. Marc Marquez, meanwhile, had been slowly carving his way through the field, starting from 9th. Marquez showed his adaptability, consistently making up positions as others faltered. By the 8th lap, the race was dramatically altered as Marquez seized control. He passed both Bagnaia and KTM's Brad Binder in a decisive move, taking the lead as the pack entered turns 14 and 15. It was vintage Marquez, showcasing the combination of fearlessness and skill that has defined his career. From there, Marquez never looked back despite Bagnaia's best efforts. The Gresini rider managed to build and maintain a 3.1-second lead by the time the checkered flag waved. It was a performance reminiscent of his prime years and one that put him back in the spotlight as a serious contender in the championship. Bagnaia, though unable to challenge Marquez for the win, still put in a solid performance. After his early lead, he showed resilience in holding off pressure from several rivals, eventually securing a second-place finish. More importantly, this result leaves him just 7 points behind Martin in the standings, with the championship race now tighter than ever. Enea Bastianini completed the podium, bringing home the sister factory Ducati in third. At one point, it seemed like Bastianini might even be able to challenge the leaders, but as the race wore on, he found himself 2.3 seconds adrift of Bagnaia. Nonetheless, his podium finish will undoubtedly boost his confidence as the season progresses. Brad Binder's fourth-place finish highlighted KTM's strong showing, with the South African rider fighting through the chaos to secure valuable points. Marco Bezzecchi, on his VR46 Ducati, rounded out the top five, demonstrating that the VR46 team continues to be a force to be reckoned with. One of the standout performances came from Marc Marquez, who finished in sixth place aboard his Gresini Ducati. His ride, though overshadowed by his brother's triumph, was a testament to his growing maturity and ability to consistently challenge for top-tier finishes. Elsewhere in the field, Fabio Quartararo managed a seventh-place finish for Yamaha, while Fabio Di Gianantonio followed in eighth, riding for VR46. Pol Espargaro, in a wildcard entry for KTM, impressed with a top 10 finish, while Johan Zarco, Takaaki Nakagami and Stefan Bradl rounded out the points-paying positions. The major talking point, however, was Jorge Martin's disastrous race. After his ill-timed pit stop for wet tyres, Martin found himself a lap down and was forced to pit again to switch back to slicks. The Pramac rider could only manage 15th place by the end of the race, a bitter result that saw his championship lead over Bagnaia shrink to a precarious 7 points. It was a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in MotoGP. As for the others, Franco Morbidelli's race ended early with a crash on lap 7, while Aleix Espargaro retired after his second pit stop. Pedro Acosta's promising start was derailed by a crash caused by aero damage from an earlier incident with Morbidelli, while Honda's Luca Marini didn't even take to the grid due to illness. Looking ahead, the 2024 MotoGP season is poised to be one of the most competitive in recent memory. With just a handful of points separating the top riders, and Marquez once again proving he can still dominate when given the opportunity, every race from here on out will be critical. The championship could swing in any direction, especially with the next round taking place in a venue known for its unpredictable conditions. For Marc Marquez, this victory solidifies his return to form and positions him as a dark horse in the title race. After a difficult few years, marked by injuries and inconsistency, this back-to-back win sends a clear message to his rivals. Marquez is far from finished. As for Jorge Martin, the San Marino GP will undoubtedly be a race he wishes to forget. With the championship still within his grasp, he'll need to regroup quickly and avoid further costly errors if he hopes to fend off the surging Bagnaia and the revitalized Marquez. Hey MotoGP fans, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with all the latest action. Keep warming up your engines. See you at the next race.